Welcome back to the deep dive. You know how we do it. We take your sources, we pull out the key insights, and we get you the knowledge you need to be, well, truly well-informed.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're looking at something that I think promises a solution to one of the biggest headaches in modern life, language learning.
Oh, yeah.
But, specifically how to do it without spending years and years in a classroom.
It's a dive into what you could call the architecture of acceleration. We're looking at a method built entirely around this promise of speed and efficiency.
Right.
And whenever we see a source claiming it's a shortcut, the question is always the same. What are they prioritizing? And maybe more importantly, what are they leaving out?
Absolutely. And this source material is defined by its just incredibly ambitious title. We're deep diving into excerpts from Morning Sentences, English Accelerator.
English Accelerator.
Well, the tagline is really a mission statement.
Yeah.
Learn English fast with real morning sentences.
That messaging is so efficient in itself. I mean, it instantly targets that modern learner who's busy, probably frustrated with the slow, the tedious grind of traditional language learning.
Totally.
They're not selling you a curriculum. They're selling results. They're selling you your time back.
So our mission for you, the listener, is to really isolate and analyze the two main pillars of this system. First, that incredible promise of speed, the accelerator idea.
Mm-hmm.
And second, the methodology. What exactly are real morning sentences and why are they supposed to work so much faster than everything else?
And what really stands out to me just right away is the language they use. We're moving away from words like intensive study or comprehensive.
It's gone.
It's accelerator. That's an engineering term. It suggests optimization, a streamlined path, and a focus on immediate measurable speed.
It's like the linguistic version of taking the express lane. And honestly, who doesn't want that when you're facing a new language? Okay, so let's unpack that core promise first. This idea of learning fast. We get why this is the main draw. We've all been there, right? Staring at a 500-page grammar book and just feeling like mastery is a million miles away.
That's right. And the word accelerator implies that the creators have, really looked at that traditional learning journey, and they've identified the bottlenecks.
The friction points.
The steps that just eat up time but give you very low immediate utility. They're going for maximum impact with minimum friction.
So if they're optimizing the path, what does that actually look like in practice? I mean, if you're accelerating, you must be cutting steps out.
It's all about focused input. Think about traditional language study. You might spend, weeks on some super specific verb tense you'll barely ever use.
Oh, I know those. Or vocabulary for, medieval farming equipment.
Exactly. An accelerator just strips all that away. It removes the filler. It removes the grammar rules you might use once a year. The optimization is all about prioritizing frequency and utility.
So it's like pruning the learning tree, but just aggressively. You're only keeping the branches that bear immediate conversational fruit.
That's a great way to put it. And that's why it feels fast. You're seeing an immediate conversational return on your investment, even if the total journey is still long.
That immediate return is everything.
It is. We have to see this fast acquisition as a system that is designed for immediate practical utility. They are not aiming for slow, comprehensive grammar theory. They want to get you to what researchers call the functional fluency threshold as quickly as possible.
Okay, hold on. Let's define that. What exactly is the functional fluency threshold?
It's basically the point where you can communicate your basic needs and, take part in everyday conversations without a huge amount of effort.
So not perfect speech.
Not at all. It's practical speech. You can navigate a city, order food, ask for directions. This method is likely just laser focused on getting you to that specific point, not worrying about the nuances of the subjunctive mood.
That makes so much sense why they'd call it an accelerator.
Yeah.
You're bypassing all the theory to get straight to the operational output.
And that choice, just by itself, is a really interesting instructional design decision. It basically acknowledges that most people don't quit a language because it's too hard.
They quit because it takes too long to see results.
Exactly. The payoff period is too long. If you can make that payoff almost instant, you boost motivation and, retention like crazy.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me because now we have to talk about how they deliver that speed. Let's shift to the mechanism. Real morning sentences.
Right.
Let's start with that word, real.
Real. I mean, that is a direct shot at the traditional textbook industry. For decades, language learners have been given these just highly artificial, sometimes bizarre example sentences.
Oh, I know them well. Is the baker's hat heavier than the elephant's shoe?
Exactly, things no human has ever said. Those sentences, they might illustrate a grammar rule, but they completely fail the reality test.
You can't order a coffee with that?
You can't. So the promise of real material is a powerful fix. It implies authenticity, practicality, relevance. It closes that gap between the classroom and the street.
And that must feed back into the fast promise, too. If I learn a real phrase in the morning, I can probably use it that afternoon.
And that's a satisfying feedback loop.
A really satisfying one.
It provides efficacy. The learner wants to sound natural, and only authentic, real content lets you do that. It's not just the words, it's the conversational flow, the cadence.
So we've got the content type authentic usable sentences. But the source is so specific about the timing. Morning sentences. Why the morning? It's not just real sentences.
Well, the timing signals two big things: routine and cognition. Let's talk about routine first. The word morning immediately suggests a mandatory routine and, more importantly, a strategy built on habit stacking.
Okay, let's clarify that. Habit stacking. That's attaching a new behavior to one you already have, right?
Precisely. Your existing habit is making coffee. The instruction is to practice these sentences while the kettle is boiling. You use the momentum of your existing habits to make the new practice stick.
So it's not a chore anymore.
It's not a separate chore. It's integrated. It becomes non-negotiable, just like brushing your teeth. You're basically automating your study session.
That's smart.
It is. But there's also a huge cognitive angle to morning. The second implication is that they are leveraging research on memory retention and cognitive benefits linked to the early hours.
Oh, okay. So what are the actual cognitive benefits they might be trying to capture right after we wake up?
Well, your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain handling focus, concentration, complex problem solving.
Which language learning definitely is.
It certainly is. That part of your brain is often at its peak performance right after a full night's sleep, before the daily stress and information overload kicks in.
The learning window is cleaner.
It's much cleaner. And on top of that, if you do focused learning in the morning, that material gets a full day of passive exposure and then, crucially, a whole night of sleep for memory consolidation.
Right, memory consolidation. We know sleep is where you move short-term memories into long-term storage. So you're giving your brain the maximum time to process that information.
That's the theory of optimization in action. They're mapping the learning schedule directly onto the brain's natural rhythms. It's efficiency mapped to biology.
That's a phenomenal insight. It's so much more sophisticated than just study early. It's a deliberate cognitive strategy.
It moves beyond just discipline and into leveraging a real neurological advantage.
Okay, so let's synthesize this. Let's connect all the pieces. We have the accelerator, promise speed, driven by content that is authentic or real, and practiced with a specific cognitive routine, the morning part.
Right. And if you look at the bigger picture, the method relies completely on inputting these high-impact, focused chunks of language. It's a pattern recognition system.
You master the patterns, you don't necessarily study the deep structure.
Exactly. But this raises a really crucial point. If the whole process is accelerated and focused purely on these functional patterns, what's the trade-off?
Right. There's always a trade-off.
There has to be.
If I only learn the sentences I need for my morning routine, what happens when I run into a totally new situation?
That is the essential risk of acceleration. The trade-off is what you could call structural robustness. The accelerator gets you speaking fast, yes. It gets you to that functional threshold quickly. But it leaves gaps in your deep, comprehensive understanding of the language's architecture. You know what to say, but maybe not why the sentence is built that way.
So you become a really good user of conversational patterns, but if the conversation goes off script, you might hit a wall.
You might. You have the operating manual for common tasks, but you don't have the engineering blueprints for the whole system.
For a lot of learners, though, a tourist, someone on a short-term work assignment, that trade-off might be completely worth it.
Absolutely. They prioritize being understood now. It's a tactical approach. It favors communication over academic rigor.
It's a design for someone on a deadline, or maybe someone who's just trying to break through that, that painful beginner barrier where you can't say anything.
And it gives you the confidence to start, which is often the biggest hurdle. The speed acts as a powerful motivator. It keeps you engaged.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our deep dive into morning sentences, English accelerator. We've pulled apart the two core pillars that drive for speed in the accelerator title, and the specific methodology of using authentic, real morning sentences.
It is an impressive structure of efficiency for sure, but the critical thought for you, the learner, to take away is this. If the goal is to learn English fast by focusing only on the most useful sentences, well, that acceleration comes at a price.
The sacrifice.
Yes. Does this method, by its very nature, condition you to rely on memorized patterns for those routine contexts? And does that make it harder down the line to develop the abstract thinking you need to speak confidently outside of those daily topics?
Is immediate speed worth the later effort it might take to fill in those deep structural gaps?
That's the question worth mulling over as you evaluate any kind of rapid learning method.
A truly essential consideration. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.